Howdy, folks. Jake here. Yeah, it's been a bit of a hectic week, kind of a crazy week, both good and bad, I think, at work. And, there are also other few various other things that I'll talk about later. But, yeah, this week has been kind of, I guess, a good different at work. Because I mentioned in my first Evo land back from the break. But I'm a server, and so I'm sure everyone is well aware that a server's wage is very it fluctuates quite a bit. Just given the fact that it is it all depends on the generosity of the customers who come in. It depends on how much they buy and how well the server does, all that kind of junk, and how busy it is, and so. My wages are very much dependent upon other people on that job. Though it's been crazy because on a typical day, I think if it's kind of steady and kind of an average day, I probably make somewhere about let's say 50-ish bucks, 50, 60, something like that. But I had a 4 shift in a row streak of making at least $100, which was crazy, and I feel like I'm rolling in cash now. Definitely not. But it was just kind of cool, and it was kind of it was really, I guess, a nice change of pace for once, because it's been pretty dead this summer because I live in a college town, and so during the summers it's basically just bone dry. There's not very many. Not nearly as many people as there normally is, during a school year and that kind of stuff. So I guess it was just kind of a nice change of pace again, and nice to get a little bit of cash in pocket, and so that was pretty cool. But yeah, so we also this week my roommate and I we went out to Walmart and we bought an entertainment center and stuff for our TV and a few other things like that. We arranged our living room, and so it actually looks like someone lives here now, and I never really realized how nice that is until now. And I never really realized how much I took that for granted. Living at home and stuff is having furnishings and couches and places to sit and hang out and stuff. Oh man, it's been ridiculous. Plus, this is the first apartment that I've ever had, so I don't know. It was crazy. It's nice. I don't know. I guess being a little, growing up and stuff, I'm realizing a lot of things that I never really would have thought about otherwise. So, yeah, weird, right? Being an adult, weird. I don't like it. But anyway, so also this Thursday, I think I might have mentioned it while I was introing the video, but obviously Thursday was not Mass Effect this week. It was Grow Up, and I want to. And like I said, I think I mentioned this. I can't remember, since I had to retry recording that day 3 times. I can't remember what actually made it into the video and what didn't. Oh boy, but I tried to kind of say the same things every time, but obviously, the second and third times aren't going to be as, authentic or, whatever as it otherwise would be. But I think I mentioned it that I was going to start doing Mass Effect Thursdays this next week, given the fact that recording a Mass Effect video, those videos after I've edited them and everything are typically somewhere between 5 and 7 gigs, and to upload a video that's 2 gigs takes me 5.5 hours. So, five and a half hours. So, just given all that, it's going to take me ages to get a Mass Effect video uploaded. That said, I'm not going to stop uploading them just because of that. That just means I have to be a little bit more prepared, and I was not prepared this week for it because I did not anticipate that. I knew my upload speeds were going to be worse in this apartment, or at least once I had started uploading videos again, I knew that my upload speeds were going to be, worse coming into the apartment, or I guess after I actually moved into the apartment, but I didn't know by how much until I actually started uploading my videos again. So, yeah, that was a little bit of a shocker and slightly frustrating, more just kind of I really have to be on top of this now. But yeah, so that is basically, I'll just have to start recording that just way earlier in the week and let it upload for like an entire day. Which luckily I found that it's the strangest thing, but in this apartment, when I'm uploading a video, it doesn't like completely just kill the internet like it did in our other apartment, which I find very strange because I wouldn't think that there would be any difference between, like, you know, you think that would be a consistent thing between the two. You know, like if I'm uploading something, it doesn't matter who my ISP or my internet speeds are. You know, like it's still gonna have, you know, a similar effect. But I mean, like, even with my upload speeds being worse here, I mean, my download speeds are slightly better, like by maybe like 5 megabits per second. But I don't know. Like at my other apartment, whenever I would have to upload my videos like overnight, because if I tried to upload them during the day, like we just wouldn't be able to use the internet like for anything. And if we did, it would be really slow. So I don't know, but we don't have that problem here. So I mean, I'm not complaining. It's just, I guess, kind of weird. But yeah. So also, I wanted to give kind of, I guess, a proper address to No Man's Sky. Just because I got it, I pre-ordered it, and I've been playing it a bit, and I guess I just kind of want to give my 2 cents worth on it, just in case anyone was, you know, kind of wanting to sift through, you know, various people's opinions and whatnot. Just given that the game has had a lot of very mixed reviews, a lot of them kind of leaning more towards negative. So I mean, I suppose I'll give my little bit for it and see what you guys. I mean, you guys can think whatever you want. You're entitled to your opinion, but here's mine. So basically, I enjoy the game. I like it. I think it's pretty cool. I like how big it is. The scope is cool. That said, that is also a bad thing, being that it is a multiplayer game. Because, I mean, like, obviously, for the obvious reason of it's a, well, multiplayer game that you never see another player. I mean, that in and of itself, for me, makes me think that they should have just made it a single-player game. But, I mean, or at least that's what I would think would make more sense. Just given that the game is essentially a single-player game played on online, basically. So, the scale of the universe, I think, works to their advantage and also works to their disadvantage. More so to their disadvantage than it does to their advantage. Which is kind of a sad thing because, I mean, like, just looking at the scale, I mean, like, it's ridiculously huge. Like, there's, I think it was like a few hundred, no. It was like a quintillion, like a few quintillion stars or something like that. I don't remember. It was a huge number, just an astronomically huge number. Astronomically, get it? I didn't even mean to make a pun there. But it's a huge number of stars that are in the game, and each star having several planets on it. Which is crazy. But at the same time, the fact that it's a multiplayer game with that scale means you're never going to bump into another player, like, ever. But getting off that point, I do like I guess, like the scavenging system, and like when you get down to the planet, I think it's really cool because I love exploration and that kind of stuff. It's an open-ended game, just period. There isn't really an objective for the game, or at least not that I really know of. I mean, I know that the devs were saying, like, you know, you're going to be kind of making your way to the center of the galaxy or universe or whatever it is, and that's kind of, you know, like the goal, quote unquote. Which, I mean, like, yeah, there's at least something to shoot for, but at the same time, the amount of time that it takes to do that is just crazy. Just given the scale of the galaxy and that every player starts on like the outer fringes of it, basically. So I mean, it'll be a long time before anyone gets there. Which, I mean, to the devs, I guess, benefit. I mean, there'll at least be some people who'll be playing it until they get to the center, which will be a long time. So I mean, they'll at least have some people playing that long. However, given that it's a huge, you know, given the scale, a lot of people aren't going to want to stick around for that long, I don't think, to actually be able to want to get to the center. I mean, I don't think there's as many people who are going to be as motivated to do that as the devs would have originally hoped. Granted, the fact that an indie team developed this game and just like it's, I mean, I don't know if I want to say AAA quality, but I mean it's not. I mean, it's not too terribly far off. I mean, everything seems really polished to me, and like the procedural generation looks nice. Except for I did run into one time where there was a stronghold inside of a mountain. So, and like half the landing pad was sticking out of the mountain, so you kind of land on it and then you just get pushed out to the outside. So that was kind of trippy, but yeah, I mean, like there's a few things like that is kind of like the game is well made, but there's still some bugs, but it's procedurally generated and it's absolutely huge. There's going to be bugs. And I think that there's not as many as I would have originally thought that there were. Also, they're putting out, at least I have it on Steam, so I mean, I would imagine that Steam gets more updates than that, or I mean, I would imagine that it's easier for Steam to get more updates than it would be to have the PS4 get updates. Granted, I don't know. I could be completely wrong. I don't play my PS4 all that much, or at least not anymore. But yeah, so there's those. I guess another one of the good things is I like the whole like language system and kind of like interacting with the different alien species. I think is pretty cool. However, I feel like you basically it's going to be a really long time before you can actually get like a full understand a full sentence that an alien speaks. Because basically you can learn words by finding like these like monoliths and things, and there's going to be like these like little pedestals around it that will teach you words, as well as you can learn words from the aliens themselves sometimes when you go to talk to them. If you like, you can give them something and they'll teach you a word or whatever. And that concept I find to be really cool, but I think it probably would have served them a little bit better to make it like learning phrases rather than words, just solely for the fact that the aliens that you talk, I mean, like, I've learned like I learned a handful of words from one alien race, and I still like I think I learned like 10 words or something like that, and I still couldn't understand a single word when I was going to talk to one of the aliens. And I'm like, granted, I get it. 10 words out of a whole language is nothing. I understand that very well, but at the same time, it feels like if that's going to be a mechanic, that you should actually be able to, it should actually take effect. Like, I feel like even after learning the words, I'm not anywhere closer to, being able to understand the aliens than I was before I learned them. And so I guess I wish that you would learn, more applicable words maybe or something like that more often or something. And they very well could be tweaking things like that, and I'm just not realizing it because I don't read change logs all that much. But that's just a few things that, kind of struck me off the bat. The whole trading system is cool. I like being able to, like if a ship, drops, into a space station or whatever, you can just talk to them and be able to trade things with them, even if you don't necessarily understand the other one. I mean, like there's things like that I like, and like I said, I like the exploration. I like being able. I mean, like I like the whole system they have with like the life support systems and stuff with your suit. I guess it makes it necessary to actually collect things, more resources and things, and also like the different types of fuel that you have to get, like, which getting a bunch of different types of fuel can be kind of a pain in the butt sometimes, just because like, okay, well I have to get this thing, and then I also have to get this different thing. I have to get like plutonium to charge this part of my ship, but I also have to get there's like thorium or whatever 9. To get, to charge this part of my ship, and then I have to go, try and find a hyperdrive somewhere so I can get to another system and all this kind of stuff. So, I mean, like, there's a lot of things that it becomes a little bit of a nuisance to try and find everything, especially since you're just kind of wandering aimlessly around the place, trying to find, essentially a needle in a haystack. And you can't even leave your starting solar system really for a while unless you got like the pre-order bonus for the ship that starts with a warp drive. Like, there's just a lot of things like that's like I feel like they probably could have done a little bit better on, and I feel like the pacing is just a little bit too slow for most people. Granted, that said, I don't mind it too much because I enjoy it. However, I will probably get sick of it faster than I otherwise would, just because the pacing is slow. In my opinion, No Man's Sky seems almost like a dad game. Like the people who enjoy like EVE Online and stuff like that will probably enjoy it more than what I would have assumed to be the target audience of, like people in high school, college, that kind of age range. And so it's just kind of like, I don't know, like, I feel like there were some things that they could have tweaked or made a little bit different. And they also, like, there's kind of, like, I mean, like I said earlier, there's kind of an objective for the game to try and reach the center of the galaxy, but at the same time, that's such a loose goal that for some people, the game just seems kind of pointless. Which I can see both sides of that. I like to have, a set objective, something that I can do, because that's just how my personality is. I'm not the most creative person in the world. And so, like, I'm really bad at thinking up my own, original ideas for things. And so I like to be, kind of, not necessarily, like, told what to do per se, but told what to do more or less. I at least like to have, like, some direction of what I'm doing, or, at least, like, feel like there's more of a point to the game than just, get to the center of the galaxy. Because it kind of feels like, just empty of substance. And I knew that was going to happen coming into the game, because I remember watching some of the, not a devlog, but it was, I think like IGN or GameSpot or something like that. I can't remember. It was one of those gaming websites, had, I can't remember what his name is, the CEO of Hello Games, or CEO, I think? I don't know. I think his name was like Sean Murray or something like that, from Hello Games. He had him come in and kind of give like the lowdown of like, here's what a normal day playing No Man's Sky will be like. And, like I kind of knew that there was going to be kind of dry of substance, just because, like, even while I was watching him, I was like, okay, well, he's not really done very much. Like, is anything going to actually happen here? And so, I don't know. I mean, obviously, we're such an open-ended game. You get to choose how you play. So for some people who are more, for some people who are more creative than I am, that's a wonderful thing, because, they can do whatever they want. And, they can come up with their own ideas of how to play and their own, way of playing. So, I don't know. I feel like it's interesting. It's definitely kind of put in a category of its own, I think, just because there isn't a whole lot of games like really similar to it, especially like the whole like discovering things, like when you discover something, it gets accredited to your name, which I mean is cool and all, except for the fact that no one's ever really gonna see anything you've ever explored, really, because you're not going to run into any other players. So, I don't know. It feels like a lot of the good things can also be considered bad things for the game, depending on who you talk to. So, I don't know. I've been enjoying the game. I haven't put a ton of time into it, but from what I have put into it, I've enjoyed it. I probably won't play it a ton, and I won't play it ever for the channel. I may play it for, a stream or something like that, which also streamed today at around 1-ish. I don't know. Well, I guess today for you guys. Tomorrow for me, I will be helping my girlfriend move some stuff around her apartment before I stream. So basically, whenever I get back from that is when I'm going to start streaming. I'm hoping that will be somewhere around 1, but I have no idea. So I'm going to say tentatively 1 o'clock as usual. And if I'm not streaming then, check back later. I will be streaming at some point that afternoon. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to stop blabbing, because I'm sure when I was giving my very inconcise review of No Man's Sky that I probably talked about the same points over and over and over again and talking in circles, because I'm really good at that, in case you haven't noticed by now. So, before I continue to do that, thank you folks for watching. I appreciate all you guys' views. It really means a lot to me that you guys watch. And I'm looking forward to continuing on with Grow Up and Evoland. I saw that Grow Up got more views and likes than a lot of my videos haven't for a while, actually, which really isn't hard to do, because I mean I haven't been getting as many regular views as when I started. But that aside, it's gotten more views. So kind of cool, exciting for me, because I love playing that game, and I hope it's exciting for you. So if you guys liked the video, drop a like for me just so I know. Subscribe if you want, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Well, actually today, hopefully. But anyway, peace.